Well, yes, it's La Copa, and today we're at Box Hill, very famous hill down there in Surrey, just southwest of London. I think this is going to be a very good course for RGT. Actually, I haven't ridden this on RGT myself, but I've ridden up Box Hill many times, and I do know the route. So let's have a look at the route, shall we? Hopefully we can have that up. So here we are, we come out of Givens Grove, we're going down the A24, which is a major road, and that little switchback there, that's Box Hill. Now it's a nice steady gradient, so there's no really nasty ramps, and then most of the rest of it is downhill, but there is a little bit of a kick up. Let's go round again on the second lap, because this is 2 laps. There's a little bit of a kick up here towards Headley, but other than that, then you get this sweeping descent down the A24 back to Givens Grove. So it's mainly one climb with a little kick just afterwards. 2 laps, so they've got to do it twice. And as I say, Box Hill, from riding it in real life, which I've done many times, it's a nice, steady gradient, spectacular views, which I'm afraid RGT probably won't share with you tonight. But as I say, I think it's a good one for RGT because it's steady rather than nasty little ramps. So whether people get into groups or what they do, we'll have to see, I suppose. Looking at last week in Leuven, I mean, certainly the main attacks happened on the climbs, as you might expect. And I think although I think we've probably got less climbs this week, we've got one big long one on each lap. I think that is where things are going to get split up. And as you can see, if you look at the map, the white dot in at the bottom of your screen is a start, and the little zigzags towards the towards the right of the course as you look. Those zigzags are the hairpins going up Box Hill. So the hill comes quite early in it, so we might see a split peloton as much as sort of like 1/3 of the way through the first lap. I think this is going to be dead exciting. And last week we had an absolutely fantastic finish from Klaus Vanner. In fact, his name is Vanner I think. We call him Klaus Vanner, and it was a 1-2 for no pins, and that puts them totally at the top of the series standings. No pins, R3R e-racing team. They got a 1-2 with Chris Smart, also known as Gringo, taking second place. Now the Copa Hopers, this is a fantastic fairy tale story. This team is made up of all the people who weren't members of a team and were put together as a group. And it was very interesting. I was chatting with Nick Greenhouse of Racio Racing last night, and he was sort of looking at it and saying they actually look like one of the strongest teams, and that is reflected in their second place here. So the early leaders, no pins and Copa Hopers, but look at place 3. We were talking last night again, and I came out, unfortunately or fortunately, with the phrase Great Danes, which is the name of an English breed of dog, I suppose, or the English name for a breed of dog, I should say. But the Great Danes here, CKD, they are a Danish team made up of top Danish riders, and they are very, very strong. And we've seen this across a lot of RGT races, so we know what they can do. This is building up to be very, very exciting. 15 seconds to the start. This has got to be fast and furious. It's a race to the bottom of Box Hill. 10 seconds, 8 seconds. Here we go. You can see there, Linda van der Beurs, Alex Plaisir in the lineup there. This is a stellar lineup of top RGC stars, and here we go. And so we're hitting 37 kph. People are racing off the front. 38 already within very very few meters, and people going out earlier. Southborough District Wheelers rider on the front there, I'm not sure which one, and there's a little group of 3 edging away here. Will they stay out and get to Box Hill and get an advantage? Probably not, as Kay Brown is swept up from Southborough. Oh, he goes on the front again, so he's obviously very, very keen. Southborough, a club from Tunbridge Wells in the southeast of England, and I think it's reasonable to say, I think apart from CKD, they're probably the only club team. I think the rest are amalgamations of good e-riders from the RGT scene and probably beyond. I know that teams are out recruiting for good riders all the time. And we see some of the jerseys there, the Moon Riders in the green, the white and green jerseys, the orange helmets there you can see with the black kit. There's one on the front there, Racio Racing, The red and white, I suspect, might be KD. So let's have a look at some of the lineups here. This is the Southborough District Wheelers. They have different teams, and this is the Wasp team. Oh, and Cader Heddenham taking a little leap off the front there for the Danes. It's probably not going to stick, but nobody's chasing, and there's another one of the Danes sitting on the front, not bothering and letting him get away. This could be a good break. I mean, if he can get up Box Hill and cause a series, he's pulling away. There is a gap emerging here, and yes, that's one of the Southborough guys now is chasing him down. So let's see what happens. Nobody really joining in that chase though, although they're holding the distance. Somebody else going across now, and okay, that's taken up. So Caden Heddenham. Oh, it's Cader Alumni, who's from the UK. I think he's got the GBR kit on there. Who's leading the chase back? Lyndon van der Bars in the chase. You see, it's getting a bit pointy on the peloton there. Maybe putting a bit of strain on people at the back. And certainly when Box Hill comes, I expect this to thin out into a bit of a line. Mark Rowbottom there for Ratio Racing, alongside one of the Southborough guys and the Moon Riders riders joining in. Mark putting out 170 heart rate, 351 watts. This is probably what you'd expect on the front at this stage of the race. And Cader's pulling away there. Cader's a very strong rider, and you see him quite a lot in the RGT races. He certainly knows how to win a race, so don't discount him. And as I say, I think it's going to be about what happens at the bottom of Box Hill, to be honest. So you can see we're still on the flat. If you look at the left-hand screen there, you can see the where the riders are, and you can see the elevation along there is quite flat at the moment. So I don't think we're at the bottom of Box Hill. 2.54 kilometres. Now these two laps are about 16.8 kilometres back. Oh, Andrei Krajewski. I was trying to get the pronunciation right. It's Krajewski, I think. Now he's Polish, lives in Manchester. Now he's got over to that little group, and I think this is possibly where you can get these breakaways, and you need 4 or 5 riders because the strength of the peloton in RGT with the effective drafting. There seems to be a couple of other riders coming across now, or maybe they're dragging the peloton with them. Yes, it's Jade Burnians, and these are Gavash. There's a group of 5 there. Now, can they make this stick and pull away? That'd be interesting. There's no actual cobbles in this area. I love that view actually. The horizon there actually. Oh look, the peloton's caught them up. If you've ever ridden Box Hill, the horizon actually looks like that. So whoever's put this one together, well done. That's sort of what Box Hill looks like from a distance. I have to tell you, if you don't live in the area. So that's very, very good. I hope we're going up there. Oh no, we're not. No, I think that's just a horizon because we're going in the wrong direction. So I think this is a sweep back off the A24 now, and what happens is a little hotel at the bottom of the hill. Yes, you can see the slope sign now. We're going up. So that, I think, is a switchback. We come off the A24, we turn right by the Box Hill Hotel. You go up this road, which actually runs parallel to the A24 and would have been the old road before they built the faster dual carriageway. And we're going to hang a right here, which is the beginning of Box Hill proper. The real road goes straight on. And as we twist onto this, now you get the first, well, you don't get straight away. Yes, this is the right turn, I think. So when you do the right turn, yeah, just coming up there, you see. In real life, that road, the road you're on goes straight on, but you turn into this road, and this is Box Hill proper. The actual road's called Zigzag Road, and you pass a little house on the corner there, which says, the little sign saying Zigzag Road, and we're now on the hill proper. Now you can see the gradient is about 5-6%. This is pretty much what Box Hill is all the way up, and it's a nice hill in the sense that you can get into a rhythm, and you find that right gear, and you can get to the top, possibly without changing gears. There's a couple of hairpins. The first one's not very tight, the second one's very tight, and towards the top there's sort of hairpins, but they're not so they're not tight at all. Now you can see this thinning out already. You can see Bark there, one of the Danish riders, dropping off the back, and the peloton is pulling away. I think these guys, unless they can do something about now, are probably not going to get back on the peloton. Bark's having a good go though. This might happen for him. Fleming back. Fleming back is coming back. I think he's going. I think he might just do this. That would be remarkable. I hope he doesn't burn himself out. Yeah, you can see Fleming back's pictures there in the bottom left-hand corner with the medal around his neck, and I think he deserves a medal if he gets back onto this. It's tortuous. It's like oh there. It's close, but I've been in this situation myself on RGT where you spend everything and you nearly get there and you just burn out, and I've got a feeling this might be about to happen because he's not closing that last bit of the gap, and I think the peloton are getting away. So we see two Moon Riders riders here with Jay Polak and Fleming back are probably now lost off the back. So okay, that's a bit unfortunate really. I don't know who the two rest of the hairpins, and this is exactly about what it looks like, which you'd expect from RGT Magic Roads as well. Oh, look at this, the Jay Harmer from the USA, by the looks of things, has pulled away off the front and is coming up to the second of the hairpins. Right, there it is. This is the tight one. And this is fragmented. Now remember though, it is a lot of descending after this, so unless the gap's big, I think the peloton's got more than a good chance of getting back back into look at this, G Gringo. That of course is I was calling him Gringo last week. It is of course Chris Smart, we now know. And he's part of the No Pins team. The Zach is one of the No Pins riders as well. And it looks like No Pins have got their own little kit here, which you'd expect because No Pins are a kit maker. They make those wonderful skin suits where you put the number inside the jersey rather than the outside. So look, I can't see. Yeah, Hana's not on the photo, so I'm not sure of his first name. But that's Chris Smart. Is that 3 No Pins riders on that break? No, this is serious. No Pins are leading the series, remember. Oh, look at this. Is this Caledine? I'm not sure where that flag's from. I can't see the symbol in the middle, and it looks like it could be an Isle of Man flag, but I suspect probably not. That's not Alex Rockwell there. That's an Isle of Man flag, so that tells me that the Caledine one isn't. Alex Rockwell from Ratio Riders. That's an Isle of Man flag with these 3 legs on there. It's where several great UK riders come from. Mark Cavendish being the most notable. This is that light blue kit with red and black. Alex, is Alex being distanced? I think he needs to push on, just sit on that wheel if he can. Now, as we get up towards, we're getting up towards the top. Now, you get this right. These aren't quite hairpins right at the top. They it swings around to the right, and then swings around to the left, and then round to the right again, and you'll buy the car park at the top. There's no big rock hanging over like you just saw there on the real Box Hill. So that's the first of the bends, and we swing left, and then it feels like you're at the top of the hill. But most people will take this as the top of the ride because it is relatively moderate gradient after this. You can already see the gradient. Well, it's probably 3.6 it's showing up in the top right hand corner of the screen to your left. So you can see, Alex is struggling here, and it looks like the No Pins riders with Caradine are getting away. Now this is significant, and it's whether the peloton has what it takes to make use of the fast speed that can. Alex is definitely out of that, I think now. No Pins are going to dominate this race unless the peloton coordinates and makes use of the big downhill. Now, as I say, this is, if you look at the profile, this the second half of this, or the second 2/3 of this course looks very much like it's downhill, but there is one little kick up. I don't think. I mean, you can't even see the peloton now in the distance. Um, Alex is the only person we can see in there, and I still can't see the peloton coming around that far corner. So this must be a huge distance. We're looking at 113 meters according to the stats on our left. That is huge, and I think even with the fast downhill, you can see the profile at the bottom here, and you can see that this is the bottom of the left-hand screen. You can see the orange bits are the steepest bits, and blue and purple on the right are descents, and you can see that one kick up almost by the curb of the road we're on here. You can see it goes orange again. So we've just done Box Hill, and these guys, they're still going up. This is this false flat I told you about, so they're still going up, but you know, that RGT, you'll see that the big light bulb sort of white thing on top of the hill, that's who we're following. So those are the leaders, and the little white dots are the people and the little groups behind. And you'll notice, you see, so we've moved to Alex Rockwell, and the light bulb's moved back a space to Group 2. Jay Beams has caught him up, so he's at least got somebody to work with, and that's quite good. The drafting on RGT is very, very effective. It's John Beams. We found out only he's from Peddlers, so we now know which team he is, and he's waving. Yes, how you doing, John? And he's probably waving to Alex and not me, and Alex is waving as well, so maybe they are waving to us. I don't know if they're listening in or not, but go for it, guys. Work together and see what you can do. The rain's come down. The last time I went up Box Hill, it rained all day, and I went up it for the first time ever in my life where I only saw one other cyclist. It was early in the morning and pouring with rain, but there we are. Having a look at Peddlers there, John Beams, the third along the row. Daniel Newbar, he's somebody I know quite well, and Jez Reed and Kenneth Fantina, another name we all know very, very well, making up the Peddlers team. Peddlers, one of the teams that's been established on RGT for a little while. Wouter Clay's now on your screen, and he's just at the front of the John Samut there, and Cyril Ayraud, all making up the front there. I'm hoping they'll put in a bit of effort now, because I'm sure they're over the crest of Box Hill and they can get some speed up and try and rein in the no-pins guys. Not that I have any vested interest in any of these teams, but it would be nice to see a race. On the other hand, if no-pins pull this off, it's going to be very impressive, and credit to them. Now, there's quite a mix of riders from teams. You can see two Moon Riders jerseys in there. One of the Danes. I'm not sure if the yellow and blue guys are... Oh, no, it's Jay Collis. Yes, he's French. I'm trying to think of his first name now. Ben Hammond. It's got Rocky. Ben, we were talking about you last night, and I asked Nick where the name Ratio Racing came from. And he said that Ben Phillips, and Ben Phillips is the person you can see at the bottom of your screen, who's come on Rocky, that's Alex Rockwell, and go Ratio. Ben rides for Ratio, and the name was his idea apparently, and I only found this out last night. Ratio is Welsh for racing, so Ratio Racing is basically translated Racing. What a fantastic name, and well done, Ben. And thanks for chipping in with some comments. And we're back up the front with the no pins guys, and they have got 270 metres on Alex Rockwell and John Beams. So this is quite emphatic. Very impressive. Chris Smart. We don't know what Hahn's first name is. I'm going to call him Zach, and he can write and complain afterwards. And of course, Keradine, whose name I don't know either. So. Again, if you can let us know for next time, guys, I'll improve the names. But hats off and chapeau. This is quite a performance. I don't know how much of this is teamwork or just three excellent individuals, but they certainly are working as a team. Not quite nose to tail here, and there's no need for sort of echelons per se, because there's no side winds. I look forward to the days when we do these races and we get these side wind effects and steering and all sorts. I'm sure we're less than a decade away from that, but right now we'd probably be more efficient wheel to wheel. It isn't that easy to stay wheel to wheel, incidentally, on RGT, and it takes a lot of practice. And if you do some of the team time trials, the MRETT series, it's good practice learning how to do that. So now it's probably not quite sure where we are on the map. No, so we still haven't got up to Headley, and you can see that the second kick, we're still a little away from that. That's up at Headley, and this is still lap 1. So one has gone off on his own. Remember though, they've probably just done that kick, and I'm sure they'll regroup when they get to the top, because it makes sense to work together given the drafting effect. But this is emphatic by no pins. They were emphatic last week. Vanna taking the win, and Chris Smart taking second place. They took first and second last time, and if they hold this, and if you look at the bottom, if you look at the profile at the bottom of the left-hand picture, oh, Francois Ike. Go on, Moon Riders. Hi, Francois. Good to see you. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you next week in my races. Look forward to having you. Slightly more climbs in the next series. I know you asked me the other day, but not as many as I'd hoped when I analysed it the other day. This, though, has got some serious kicks, and we've just done one, and no pins have got back together, and so I think this is going to be a team effort all the way round. I mean, if they've got any individual needs to get to the top, to the front, I'm not sure. There is no individual classification in this race, so there's no real benefit in being the winner per se, other than for your own ego and glory, because it's all about teams here. And remember, the team scoring structure is quite interesting, and I congratulate Alex on the way he's done this. He's made a real emphasis on gaps between positioning, and so for example, I run races and I do it slightly differently, but I like Alex's approach here. For first place you get 100 points, and for second place you get 90 points, and third place 80 points. So it is worth sprinting at the end, because one place could make 10 points difference. This sort of narrows a little bit, so you get down to 4th you get 75, 5th 70, 6th 67, and it goes down in 3s for a little while, and then you get down to 55 for 10th place, and then after that it sort of drops in 5s. So 11th to 15th will all get 50 points. So if you're finishing 11th to 15th, it doesn't matter whether you finish 13th or 14th, you'll get 50 points. This is quite interesting. Here we get a little bit of a drop now. We're going to get some speed up. And this is just before the kick. Now you can see that the light bulb shaped white blob on the profile at the bottom, they're just hitting the bottom of this. You've just seen the gradient sign on your right, and this is the kick. Now look, they're on 11%. This is quite, I mean, I find this quite hard doing this, and you can just see how much they've slowed there. 20 kph, which is probably more than I would ride up an 11% gradient on RGT, although to be fair, they have had the benefit of that downhill into it. You can see it, but they're holding 9% at 22 kph. I think that's fairly decent performance, and you see the gradient just dropping for them now. It's gone down to 5, and their speed automatically going up to 28. They're going to hit 30 in a second, I would imagine, although it's steepened a little bit again. So 27, 28 on 5%, which I think is quite impressive. You still get the benefit of the draft, of course, being in a group of 3. Keradine and Hana just leaving Chris Smart a little bit behind as he gets out the saddle and puts in that effort to keep up with his teammates. But this is dominant. This is dominant, and this is teamwork at its best. And I think the other teams will probably have to sit up and take notice of this. You can see how much that's thinned, and that has thinned a lot. OTR racing, Cyril Earl, James Ogilvie, who's the founder. I mean to ask James, and I must ask him this. I wonder if the O in OTR stands for Ogilvie. I shall text him and ask. Keith Aitchison, Peter Brookwavell, Mike Gilbert, and Patrick Olivier, all making up that team. I'm not sure who's in there tonight. I'm just trying to have a look. I can't tell who's actually racing out of them. Now you're allowed 6 riders in a race, or 6 riders in the team for the race. Only the top 3 score points. Okay, so everybody awarded points according to where they finish, but only the top three's results go towards your team's results. So if you have a week where everybody's had to work late or the trains are on strike or something like that, then if only 3 turn up, that's fine. You'll still score maximum points. And there's a little bit of a drop off there. Even this second group is now beginning to fragment a little bit. There are still 200 metres before. In fact, I think they might have closed the gap a little bit, because the gap looking at 200 metres behind the no pins team. There is always a chance that the no pins team, with less draft effect, might actually tire. And we're only on lap 1. Remember, we've still got to go down this downhill and then do Box Hill and the second kick up at Headley again. So with that gap closing, one does wonder whether this second group's got a chance. But look how fragmented it is. Look at the right hand screen. It's not cohesive, is it? That is strung out. There's possibility of a little break there, although I think they're coming downhill. So yes, that's being made up again. But it's in fact it might be split because of the effect of the downhill and some people just descending quicker than others. And when we get to the bottom, now remember, it spins down a road called Milk Way, and then it hits the A24, which is a fast dual carriageway, and then the road sort of flattens out as they go along the bottom of the A24 before that swing back. And remember, when they get that sharp left-hand turn and they sort of do 180 degrees, that is the beginning of Box Hill by the Box Hill Hotel. And you can see that the leaders are coming towards the end of lap 1. Heinrich Highball there, putting out 323 watts, heart rate of 151. It's pretty fast going down this hill. It's not. I have ridden down the A24 on my bike before, but you wouldn't normally choose to, so I have no real reference of what you might do. Jérôme Collisson putting out to get 200 watts, so that's the effect of sitting in the peloton. You look at that, if you're on the front it's 300 and something, if you're sitting in the group it's 200. That's the left hand circle, that's the watts they're putting out. So can this second group get cohesive and close the gap? Matt Looker here, again you see that effect, 146, although it is downhill, 193 now, 212. Ooh, suddenly put in 300. I think that's actually, if you see yourself getting dropped off a group like he just suddenly did, he now needs to sort of put that effort in. It suddenly goes up to 300 to catch up, and you'll probably see it drop now. You can see those. These are the other 3 no pins riders sitting in group 2. Of course, they've got no incentive. So here we are. We're actually now at the end of lap 1 for group 2. But you can see the 3 no pins riders there have got no incentive to go on the front of the group whatsoever, because only the first 3 score points. So they might as well sit in that group and not do anything, just be a bit of a nuisance, because they've got 3 riders up the road who could take the first 3 places. And we go back to those first 3 places. Chris Smart, see John Beams now putting in another little dig. Remember, I think he was out the front with Alex Rockwell a little bit earlier, and that went 4th. So the gap now, in fact, the gap to the first 3 is only 84 metres. That gap has closed on the descent. So, in fact, after me sitting there saying there's no point, no pins going on the front, they go on the front and probably try and slow it, and everybody's not having that. So straight away we get one of the Rassier boys, Johann Scheppers, taking away the German, Wouter Claes, also going to, Joris Scheppers, isn't it? Joris Scheppers and Wouter Claes moving away. They weren't having that. I think no pins tried to go on the front and slow it down, but that, as I say, not happening. High ball going. So I think everybody's having a little dig. I mean, with 85 metres, the only thing is we have to remember that that gap was created on Box Hill, which we're about to do again. So, well, I think a bit of cohesion's needed, and maybe this no pins breakaway. We still can't see anybody in the background from the no pins guys. It's extended out to 120 metres now, so it's still a healthy lead. I think if they maintain this up Box Hill, they've got the race, and this will just be emphatic. And I think the other teams will need to go away between this week and next and start thinking strategy here, because with the 1-2 last week and a possibility of a 1-2-3 this week, it doesn't bode well for anybody else with eyes on the championship here. So what do we got? This is Nick Greenhouse is now there. Beams. So these two have actually, so Yenko and Beams have taken a. My goodness, that's not the no pins guys in front of them. It is. Or are they lapping? So I think they're lapping somebody. Sorry, that would have been remarkable. That would have been remarkable. But oh no, maybe I'm right. Oh, this is interesting. I think some of the no pins guys might be getting caught here, which will take us back to, yes, it is the no pins guys. So John Beams and Yenko are now about to catch the no pins guys, and the peloton isn't far behind them. This has completely closed down. This is amazing. I say that there's still 45 meters between the no pins guys and John Beams, and another probably another 70-80 back to the peloton. So maybe, depends whether these guys get stuck in no man's land. Yeah, the peloton's not actually seeing the action ahead, so it's not quite as close. No pins just holding that gap there. Oh, and the two behind are splitting. Oh, it's a bit unfortunate. John Beams just pulling away. The trouble is, you spend a tremendous amount of effort catching up, and if you don't quite make it, it's really hard. And I think the no pins guys are pulling away a bit there. I mean, it's showing up at 50 now. It was what, 45 before. They're not going to let him catch if they can help it. John Beams putting out 252, which is probably a little bit short of what I'd expect for a hard chase, and I think that gap looks visually as if it's growing. So it's it's probably past the point where I think he's going to make it back on, and they're now looking out of view. They're getting smaller and smaller into the distance. So yeah, 94, and the peloton's now going to sweep him up. So that was absolutely brilliant. I salute the pair of them for getting away like that, but unfortunately, no pins just put the gas on and went away. So everybody's on Box Hill again now, and we shall see whether Group 2. So I think it's all about what happens in Group 2, because, as I say, first, second, and third doesn't particularly matter. Well, we say how Rassio doing there, Ben. We see Nick Greenhouse going off the front of Group 2, don't we? And must be those beers we had last night fueling him up there. So well done, Nick, for lighting up the race. After we just seen an attack from the pedlars, but can Rassio do it? Now you can see a little trio of Rassio riders now, and of course so Nick putting out 365 watts there. I mean, if Rassio could take 3 riders off the front and grab 4th, 5th and 6th positions, that would put them in a strong position. You can see there's 4 Rassio riders in this front group at least, and in fact as we go through there might even be some more. Perhaps not. It is going to. I think this group is going to thin again. Oh yes, there is. Look. So how many have we got? Oh no, I think it is 4 Rassio riders in this front group. In answer to Ben's question. So we've got Nick Greenhouse now, after his little spurt off the front, sitting in and taking Box Hill. Nick actually went out over to Box Hill a week or so ago, and I suspect it was in anticipation of this race. I think he went on Sunday, actually, he was telling me, and did a PB up Box Hill. So come on, Nick, see if you can beat your PB on this one today. So Joris Shepper's sitting on the back now, just taking in the draft. I expect the Rassio boys are smart enough to know how to cling on here, and maybe not. Oh, John Beams is still out there on his own and in 4th place. and he's still only 50 metres behind the no pins guys. So in actual fact, I think if John Beams gets over, look, he's 145 or 140 metres in front of Group 2. And Keradine is drifting a little bit, so and Beams can see him. So just maybe John Beams is the man to split up, and it's from Peddlers, those orange jerseys. If John Beams can get into that no pins group, he could mess up their 1, 2, 3. You see visually as we go around the first of these hairpins on Box Hill, visually you can see the other riders, and we should just see them there going up the other side of the hairpin. So the gap visually looks smaller to me than it was reading on the stats on the screen, which is interesting. As I say, this is a steady climb, so if you can find a rhythm you're comfortable with, which is making up distance, you should be able to make it stick. So Harmer at 11.8 kilometres, it says there to the finish. It sounds about right. I can't see the profile at the bottom, but my guess is that the no pins guys must be coming up to the top of Box Hill with Group 2. As you can see the profile now, they're about halfway up, and there's some stragglers you can see at the top of Box Hill that we might catch up. They might not be moving. Sometimes we get 2 white dots that far behind. They're people who've had a technical. That's mechanical with the T, because we're in the tech business here with e-racing. Quite often, oh no, they are moving. So they're just people caught behind for one reason or another, I suspect, because the white light bulb on the profile on the orange section. Remember, orange is the steepest part of the climb, but we've only got 2 no pins riders here, and we can see now that John Beams is up into 3rd. Keradine is now riding with. He's riding with John Beams, but this means the 1, 2, 3 is not on. Then we see the 2 of them there, and Keradine. He's probably sitting on. I think Keradine might be spent and is just going to have to sit on the wheel of John Beams and see what he might do in a sprint finish. And remember, the difference between 3rd and 4th place is 5 points. 80 points for 3rd and 75 points for 4th. So it is worth sprinting, because that's 5 points for your team. But we've got, Chris Smart, who was, remember, 2nd last week, and a good 2nd as well. Although I have to say that Klaus Vanner's finish was exceptional last week. So no pins have put on a bit of a show 2 weeks running, and I think everybody else just needs to sort of kind of start thinking how they're going to counter this. I certainly think, looking at the profile there, that these 2 are probably set for the first 2 places, because beyond the little kicker up at Headley, and if you look at the profile at the bottom of the left-hand screen, you'll see that that's a sort of second ready orangey section towards the right. We're on lap 2 here, remember. We've done all this once before. They're getting very close to where it starts. The gradient starts getting more gentle, and the gap now. Oh, look at this. From Nick Greenhalgh in 5th place. So this is effectively Group 3 on the road now. We're looking at over 300 metres to the front 2 and 80 to the second. As they lapped somebody there, I'm not sure who that was, but no shame in that. I suspect for somebody to still be on Box Hill on lap 1, that must have been a technical. That's somebody who's had a dropout of some sort of description, because I'm sure anybody entering these races would be further than that by the time the leaders have got round again. So on the right hand screen you can see the 2 chasers, if that's the right word, and they are, yeah, I think the overtaking. What they're overtaking there is actually a ZMS camera, so that's a bot, so that's not somebody caught up. I think that's actually the ZMS bots that do all the filming effectively for you, if that's the right way of explaining it. So there's quite a gap between Rockwell and this is somebody there looks like they've had it mechanical because they're going extremely slowly. It might be a bot, but I think that was it's one of the two anyway. Alex Rockwell, Ratio Racing, giving it another dig, and that will please Ben Phillips. And it's stringing out again. I mean, this is the Box Hill effect. Just look at the bottom on that profile, on that orange section. Just look how strung out the field has become on Box Hill, and I think it is quite attritional here. And I think the idea, if I were good enough and I were in this race, I think I would probably take Box Hill, the top of Box Hill, as a place that you really need to attack if you've got any sort of gap, because it is a false flat, and people. So Mark Wright, Rowbottom up there, Luca, Toffoli, Jan Shagers in a little group here, and I assume, what are we looking at? 16th place, and they are, well, they're quite down on Group 2 now. So this is just fragmented. The effect of Box Hill, which has made it quite a fascinating race in the sense that the hills are there to break up the race and make it exciting. Whether or not you think No Pin's going off the front, and yes, Ben, it is up, isn't it? Whether you think it's exciting with No Pin's going off the front like this or not is your own view, but I think it's impressive and it's exceptional, and I think we can all admire what they've done here. But I think you still get fascinating races further back in the pack, and John Beams here is really, and I look at this, he might just be leaving Keradine behind. I think John Beams is the guy that I think has lit up this race more than anybody, and that's to take nothing away from No Pins, because they have been superb. But look what he's doing, and he's putting Keradine under pressure. Said Keradine, so thank you for that. We now have a first name. Sorry if I've just been calling you by your second name all the way through. But yeah, I mean, I wonder if John can take this away. I mean, Keradine's clearly having to fight to stay up, but remember, of course, when they get over the top, it's downhill, and he can probably stay on once if he stays with John over the top. I think John Beams here. I think if he stays with John over the top, he will stay with him all the way, and it comes down to the sprint finish. And of course, Keradine may just be an ace sprinter and nicks it, but I think John Beams. If we were giving one of those aggressive riders of the race awards, I think my vote would go to John. I think of Pedlars here, he's done a superb race, and well done. But that, as I say, we have to stand back and admire No Pins, the makers of those skin suits that obviously make you go faster, because they make you go faster even on an E-Race and RGT by the looks of things. So we'll have to go out and buy some of their kit, won't we? Now you can see now they've got over that false flat on the top of Box Hill, so it's sort of mainly descent. All right, they're on a very small kick here. You can see there's a little slim orange line on the profile at the bottom of the left-hand screen, and it'll probably go up a little bit, but it's mainly downhill. There's another small kick, and then of course we get that dark blue with orange in the middle. The dark blue is a steep descent, so they get a steep descent into that sharp climb upwards, which I think, if I remember rightly, from lap 1 goes up to about 11%. Now, they get a certain amount of leeway going into that, but it is still very steep. I think the gap, and you can see the gap visually, if you look just down by the Harness shoe there, you can see the white light bulb on the horizon. There is such a clear gap, and if you look over on the left-hand side, you can now see that it's nearly 600 metres back to John Beams and Said Keradine, and even more back to Colisson and Berton, the French duo, just giving it some there. Oh, and Keradine's pulled away. This is interesting, because he did struggle a little bit compared to his No Pins mates on Box Hill, and then caught up last lap, and it looks to me as if he's got John Beams dropped, I think, because I think he sat out the climb, and is able to pull away on this bit. Remember, there is the kick up, and John Beams is obviously fighting hard because he's not letting that gap go. Carradine puts a bit of effort in. He's looking over his shoulder. He's having a look behind to see if he's getting away. So this is an obvious effort to attack. I think John Beams is pulling it back, though. Will he make it? Yes, I think he's going to get back on. Will Carradine have a look back? He's not looked back yet, and John's back on. Oh, this is fantastic racing. Well done to the pair of you. Carradine sort of fought to stay on John's wheel on the way up that hill and then put in that attack, and John's responded. This is going to be fun. This is, if these two can stick together, John now down to 200 watts, heart rate 173, doing 46.5 kilometres an hour. All right, this is sort of the downhill section, and cadence of 90-85. Not too fast, because I think they're just pushing down the hill. Now you look at Sade here. Now he's sitting on John's wheel at this moment, so he's down to 200 watts, 172 heart rate, cadence of 73. So they're not pushing, they're not spinning that fast. 48 kilometres an hour. As I say, this is a downhill section. They're going to tussle all the way home, I think. This is as I say, I can't wait till they get to the little kick up at Headley, because I think this is where this race is going to be decided. I think the battle for third and fourth is the exciting one, because these two guys have it doesn't make any difference to the two no pins guys in 1 and 2 who crosses the line first. The team gets first and second points if they make it over together, and that looks very, very likely. The sort of gap they've got at 550 metres now. I think that's pretty much unassailable. It's only 5.5 kilometres to finish, as you can see at the top of your screen. No pins, really the class team of the last two races, getting a 1 and 2 last time and looking set for a 1 and 2 this time. Interestingly, the kit they're wearing is slightly different to the kit they've got in the pictures, but they're probably displaying how many different designs and how brilliant they are at making kits. So this is one big advert for no pins, and how better to do an advert than actually dominate a race in the way that they have. Absolutely fantastic. Hats off to Hana and, of course, Chris Smart. Chris Smart for the second week running. John Beams, so this is the race that I think is going to be the exciting one. And then, of course, we will have to look at Group 2, assuming it gets back together. Because I think Group 2 will be a sprint finish. And there's 1 or 2 in there who know how to do that. So I think we've got 2 exciting finishes. Yeah, big effort from John. It was, wasn't it? It was fantastic. Thanks, Ben, for all your comments, and well done for inventing the name Ratio Racing, which is the topic of the day, I think. A few of us have been talking about that. So, as we catch up with another back marker, I think it's either a back marker or a bot in the filming. Never be too sure. Oh, there was somebody. So that was a rider that's caught. I didn't quite catch the name there. Maybe you're more sharp-eyed than I am, but never mind. Don't forget, I mean, people will still score points if they finish. And so here's the Pedlars lineup. You see John Beams is the third on the right there. I bet he's looking more out of breath than that right now. Because I just imagine this is a hard effort. Sade Carradine's pushing him all the way. Look at it. This isn't two guys sharing the front. They are jostling by the looks of things. Be interesting to hear their comments afterwards if we could get any. I just don't think these guys are working together for a sprint finish. I think they'll have digs. This is going to be great racing here on ZMS, RGT, and La Copa, brought to you by Ratio Racing's Alex Plaisir. Well done, Alex. This is a fantastic series. Proud to be part of it. Now you can see the leaders now doing this kick up. As I say, they're going to work together, and they went up it together quite comfortably on the first lap. So there's not any indication that this will cause any chasms between the two of them, and they're just at the top of the steepest bit. So I think now, with the sort of gap they've got, well, it's come down to 460 kilometres, although they have just done the kick, and John Beams and Sade Carradine will, of course, slow down a little bit on the kick. So here we have Group 2. Now we've got Alex Rockwell in there, Really, Collisson, Cyril. Cyril's in there too. But again, it's strung out. Look at this stringing out. Oh, Cyril's just got dropped. This is getting down to a smaller and smaller group. Look at that. There's only 5 of them. Only 5 of them. So this is, yeah, poor old Cyril's. What we just got off the back there. Let's go past another back marker. I'm a little bit confused there because it looks like they might be catching. They caught John Beams and Keradine. This is amazing. I've been so focused on them that I hadn't realised that this little breakaway in Group 2 have actually bridged the gap. So poor old John, after all that work, is going to have to fight even harder to get a 3rd or 4th place. The French rider Dujon out there at the front, and he's with John Samu from Staffordshire, getting swallowed up by the little group they're in. Again, this is so they've caught. Well, I've probably been so focused on the front 2 as not to have been focusing on that little catch up from some of the Group 2 riders. You've got Alex Rockwell in there, Hyder Highbell. Say Keradine, which we know about, Burley, Nick Greenhalgh. There's 2 Ratio riders in there. Now, we're fighting for 3rd place here now. This is the 3rd and 4th place battle, and it's suddenly turned into 10 riders. This is amazing. This is absolutely fantastic. So despite the dominance of the front, the Group 2 has just got even better. Now, Group 2, you can see that Alex Rockwell is now 350 metres. So there's a 350 metre gap back, but basically the race here is from 3rd to 12th. And Keradine and Beams find themselves very unfortunate to be in this because they had done such a great race up to the top of the Box Hill. But yeah, I think this is going to be a sprint, isn't it? This has got to be a sprint now. So looking at the front, they've now got 700 metres over the next group. Massive. I mean, it's not going to be caught. I mean, they're 900. Well, they're 900 metres from the finish, so it's inevitable. 1 and 2, Horner and Chris Smart are going to take the honours for no pins. So the second 1 and 2 in succession. It's going to put them dominantly at the top of the team rankings. Remember, this is a team competition. No pins, clear leaders now with 4 top 2 finishes in 2 races. Absolutely amazing. You have to take their hats off to them. It's been a superb performance as they do this left-hand turn. Just 400 metres to the finish. This is as they come to Mickleham. You can see the finishing line there. It's Harner that goes for the win here. So Chris Smart might. Oh no, Chris Smart's going to go for it now. Maybe they are battling. I'm not sure. So Chris Smart, if he holds on to this, and I don't think Harner's going to challenge him. Chris Smart, second last week, and is going to be first this week. Well done, sir. An amazing ride, pair of you. Now this is where the action's going to be. Which one of these is going to get this? Now we have to be alert, and as I say, a fantastic little job for those other 10 to catch John Beams and Said Kerosene. Oh, Colisson is pulling away there with Burley. 2 of them as you go around the corner. The braking effect allowing most of them to catch up, but I don't know. Collison's Keradine's not having that. He's pulling everybody back. And is that John Beams with him? Is John Beams? No, John Beams not pulling for 3. We're going for this is the sprint finish. This is, keep your eyes open. This is going to be Outer Clay's in there. Alex Rockwell. You really have to time these right, and you have to get into the bunch and do your surge about now. Is anybody going to do it? No. Dujon is the 3rd place person. Outer Clays, Nick Greenhalgh getting a very credible 5th. Really, Said Keradine settling for 7th. Alex Rockwell 8th. John Beams 9th, and I feel a little bit sorry for him after all the work he did. And Cyril coming in now, and we'll get the full results as they come up. You can see the results on the right hand side of your screen coming up now. We'll start. Yes, it's in. So we have Chris Smart, Gringo, Zach Harner. I guessed his name right. Look at that. Mathieu Dujon, the Frenchman, Wouter Claes, Germany, Nick Greenhouse, UK, Stephen Brearley and Alex Rockwell, both from the UK. I mean, we've still got people coming in, so let's keep our eyes on the action here as we have the group coming in for 14th place onwards. It's Jan Scheppers at the top of that, roughly the Frenchman, and I'm just like to see Looker getting left off behind from no pins, and that's not often you say that. Cyril Burton getting 14th there, and didn't quite catch who finished where out of that. So we'll see as the placings get populated. So we're down to Jérôme Clisson, Frenchman, getting 12th behind Heinrich Heibel. John Samu, the man from Staffordshire, getting 10th there from Pokemotion. And here we have Amberians coming in now for what must be 20th position. And we have one of the Peddlers riders just behind him. So lots of riders still coming in, and look how fragmented it is. Oh, okay, this Edmund back in 24th now. He is a strong rider, and I think that shows you the quality of this race and how testing this has been for Cadus to be as far back as that in 24th. Kader Alumi in 25th, another great rider. Andrei Krajewski, 27th. These are good riders. Cyril Ainiril, these are good riders, finishing back in the 20s and 30s. And I think this tells you what a strong race this is. You really have got the cream of the racers in the Copa, and this course has really tested them to the limits. You see one of the Southborough guys coming in here, and Andrei Gajewski is looking like he's going to get caught there. Polat coming in too, just around that last tight bend before you start doing the run into the finish. Going back to the results on the right hand side, Cyril Van Burton, William Toffoli, Eric Hogan and Joris Scheppers, Mark Rowbottom, Matt Looker and Joe Benians making up the 20 as riders coming back in. Look at that, Kader Peterson right back in 36. Timo Akinmuk, 35th. Alex Plaisir himself, 33rd. This race has been strung out good and proper. Fantastic entertainment. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. This has been quite exciting. All the credits going to No Pins, of course. Most attacking rider, we have to give that one to John Beams. I think he's going to be disappointed with 9th, but John, I think he rode superbly. Wouter Claes taking the 4th spot in the end. Mathieu Dujon, 3rd. We shall. You'll have to wait, I'm afraid, for all the team rankings. I mean, I think Alex has to pull all those together, or RGTDB do. It's Timo just coming home there, and Pedersen now doing that final little bend before the straight run into the finish. Just 300 metres to go when you go around that bend to the finish. I think RGTDB and Alex have to pull together the team placings, and I'm not capable of doing it all in my head. As brilliant as maths as I may or may not be, I'm not doing that for you right now. But we can look one more time at the placings on the right hand side, as we see Chris Smart, alias Gringo, Zach Harner, they're both from No Pins, Mathieu Dujon and Wouter Claes taking the next 2 places, Nick Greenhouse, Ratia Racing, Stephen Brearley from No Pins again. So No Pins getting a 6th there as well, which will add to their position. Saeed Carradine 7th. So only the top 3 counts. Saeed Carradine's points are not going to count in the team competition, which is kind of good because in some ways I suppose it knocks the points down. I mean, it's still good for No Pins that they can get people in the top 10, because it means the those points may not be counting towards their total, but they're taking those points and those positions away from other teams. So it's quite strategic to get your riders to finish up there. And if you look no pins, they've now got 4 riders in the top 7, with only 3 other teams scoring points, which is going to put them in an even stronger position. John Samut just finishing in 10th, Heinrich Heidbol, Jerome Coisson. And let's have a look at the times. I mean, we're looking at a winning time of 50.40, a full 3 minutes back to 20th, and nearly a minute back to 3rd place. This is emphatic riding. In fact, if you look at the bunches there, you remember that the top 12, remember there was the 2 no-pins riders and then 10 riders behind. 10 riders behind, I mean, Jerome Colisson has dropped off a little bit there. You can see he's sort of 2 seconds behind the 4 in front of him, who were at 51.33, with the rest on 51.32. So you can see that from 3rd down to 12th is a group, and you get Cyril Berton finishing on his own at 52.07, and then the next little group there, Guillaume Toffoli, Eric Hogan, Joris Scheppers, Mark Rowbottom. Again, a little group around 52.55, and then another gap back to Joe Berniance at 53.32 in 20th place. So you can see a fragmented race, and that's the effect of the hills. Great design, great choice. If you didn't know, this loop was called the Box Hill Olympic Loop. In the Olympics in 2012, the road race went round that little loop 3 times as part of a longer course, of course. And subsequent to the Olympics, although I'm not sure that it's going to continue for many more years, if it's and I don't think it happened this year or last year due to COVID, but there was the Ride London race that also went round there. So a lot of the world's top riders have done that loop several times. You can see the loop here. As I say, the route actually started in London, came out to Box Hill, went round this about 3 times. So they had to do Box Hill, I think, 3 times in this little loop, and then sort of cycled back towards London. So it has been ridden by the world's top pros as part of the Olympic road race and a part of a top road race that London has had in recent years, but I think is probably not set to continue. There's certainly, with the Sportive that goes with it, Surrey Council have said they're not going to support it anymore, so I suspect we've probably seen the last of that race. But nice while it lasted. We got to see the world's top riders in action in London and Surrey, and you've been able to ride a course that they've ridden yourself tonight. Well done, everybody. Fantastic racing. Remember, 6 weeks of this. Do go onto RGTDB and have a look at the team placings, because I can't give them to you right now. But there's no doubt who's top, and that's no pins. It's their day. We've still got a couple of riders coming in to finish here, and I'm just trying to see who we've got here. Yeah, David Ellis and a couple of other people, and then the last 47 and 48 are obviously bots from the ZMS cameras. They're near the end. You can see on the left-hand screen the light bulb shape is pretty near the finish, just coming down that hill. So it'll be not long before they finish. 800 meters to go, and when they're home, I think it's probably time for me to go. It's coming up to 7:30, and I don't know what time we're scheduled to run to. 7:30 in the UK. That's an hour since the race started. And if you look, the winning time 50 minutes, the finishing time is going to be something like, well, in fact, if you look at the top right hand, it's just going to be just over 1 hour for the second riders. So that's a course of something like I think it was 16.8, so it's probably about 33.5 kilometres. So the average speed for those people will be about 33 kilometres, which, given the hill climbing, I think is quite respectable. And remember, these are all gold riders from the RGT circuit. RGT, some of the most realistic racing you can possibly do. Brought to you here by ZMS with some of the best camera angles and coverage you could hope for. I think everybody's put in a superb job. Well done, Alex, for organising this as the last of the riders, I think, are crossing the line. No, we've got 2 more to come, I believe, but they're only about 150 metres from the finish. So we're very, very nearly done and dusted. And I suppose, at the risk of repeating myself, hats off to No Pins, absolutely superb. And my aggressive, most entertaining rider of the race goes to John Beams from Pedlars. Absolutely smashing race, John. And Nick Greenouch, well done. I can't believe I was down the pub with him last night, and he's out here today, coming fifth in a race of this calibre. Well done, Nick, and the Rassier Racing guys. But it's definitely no pins day. So I think we're all home and dry now, and that's probably about it from me. Thank you very much to Damien for producing this. Thanks for Alex for putting it on. Well done, No Pins, for being such a super team. Well done, everybody else, for making this such an exciting race. See you next week. You know where it is and you know when it starts.